Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Do please like and subscribe. It really helps, It boosts up the ability of YouTube channel to actually promote these videos, which gets the word out there, so that's very good, if you would. Yeah, and today I'm going to talk about Paul Gadd, Gary Glitter, and the potential of using the death penalty on people who offend by molesting children, and to discuss basically why people like Gary Glitter, Jimmy Savile, and the rest of them, pop stars, show business personalities, people in positions of authority and prominence in society, manage to get away with the abuse that they ply upon young children, which they do. If any of you have ever looked at the life of Louis Mountbatten, he was connected to a place called the King Cora orphanage in Northern Ireland. Now, those of you who know how Lord Mountbatten died, he was blown up on a boat, which was supposedly done by the IRA. But I have a personal theory about this, which may not be very popular, but here we go. I believe that he was about to be exposed as a paedophile, and that the royal family could not allow that, and I believe that he was terminated by special services, probably the SAS. That's my belief, because I know that he was in the practice of taking young boys, 10, 11, 12 years old, from the King Cora orphanage and taking them out on his boat. He had a small ocean-going boat, and apparently he would be abusing them there. And I believe that was about to come out. Another famous seagoing personality that was definitely into young boys was Edward Heath. Of course, these people are in positions of authority, highly prominent in society, and it seems that society, or the higher echelons of society, do have a vested interest in maintaining these people in their positions, because once people in such positions start to be ousted as paedophiles and perverts, it kind of undermines the hierarchy. So that is my belief why they got away with it for so long. Apparently Edward Heath would take young boys onto his yacht called, it was Morning Cloud, I believe. But I diverge here. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Gary Glitter. Now, there's a film made by Channel 4 about 1999, I think, or year 2000, called The Execution of Paul Gadd, Gary Glitter. Yeah, I'll put a link to that film down there so you can have a look at that. And it's quite a long film, about 90 minutes, I believe, in which it was staged. It's fiction, but it depicts England, Britain, as having the death penalty, like an alternate universe in which the death penalty still exists. And of course, there are many people in society today that do seem to agree with that premise, that people who commit such offences should indeed be terminated. I mean, having worked with numerous high-profile sex offenders such as Ian Brady, the notorious Moors murderer, I can assure you that there isn't a cure. There is no cure. They are incurable. They will not accept. I've seen the experiments at the Scrubs, which I previously discussed in my video clip about Clockwork Orange, but it doesn't work. Termination works. I'm personally not in favour of the death penalty. I don't believe that should be, because I know what tortures these people go through in prison. And believe me, towards the end of his life, Ian Brady wanted death. He tried to starve himself to death. But he was force-fed in Ashworth Hospital for the criminally insane. And he was criminally insane. But so indeed is Paul Gary Glitter. He was arrested for offences when he took his laptop into Curry's, I believe, and when they were attempting to correct the fault on his laptop, which was why he took it into Curry's, they discovered thousands of indecent photographs of young children and reported it to the police, and he got 4 months for that. Of course, that ended his career, and he subsequently was declared bankrupt following his imprisonment. I mean, don't forget, these people earn a tremendous amount of money while they're active, and they're making a good percentage of money on the circuit, touring big theatres and selling records. But it's bad money, in my opinion, and you can't hold on to bad money. So he ended up bankrupt, and he went to Vietnam, where he was subsequently imprisoned in Vietnam for molesting 10-year-old, 11-year-old boys and girls, and basically he was a predator. But when we talk about the death penalty, he's in prison now, Gary Glitter, and he isn't coming out. He's been denied parole. He'd been on parole before, and he quickly reoffended, so they're not taking a chance with him this time. Although I think he's 79 years of age now. But he still maintains the ability to molest children. The same with Jimmy Savile. I mean, listen, I've been in show business, and I can tell you that if you're working with these people, you know what they're doing. So all the people around Jimmy Savile, Gary Glitter, all that lot, all the people who were working with them, the managers, the producers, they know what their stars are doing, but they don't interfere, because if they do, then they lose the act. They'd lose. Gary Glitter wouldn't work with them, or certainly Jimmy Savile wouldn't work with them, and Jimmy Savile was notorious as a 33rd degree Mason for calling his fellow Masons, police officers, into his flat in Scarborough, where they would have a Friday meeting with the boys Friday morning and have a drink, and generally agree that Jimmy Savile wasn't going to be arrested for anything. He was at one time suspected of being the Yorkshire Ripper, did you know? And strangely enough, when the Ripper was placed in Broadmoor, who went and befriended him but Jimmy Savile? The problem is, as I said, that these people have money, they draw crowds, they've got a lot of attention, they've got money, they protect themselves. And one of the reasons that they are protected by the people who were working with them is because they're virtually a cash cow, you see. They're the one that's bringing in all the money. I had an experience similar to the Jimmy Savile and Gary Glitter farce, the terrible actions that they were taking place. When I was managing the singer PJ Proby, he tried to involve me in his attempt to groom a 11-year-old girl. Now, I was working with him. We'd got a record coming out, an album. I had distribution through the John Menzies group in Britain. At the time it was called Terry Blood. And in Europe I had distribution through BMG. So it was an international record that was coming out. It was coming out in about a week when I discovered that he was grooming an 11-year-old girl who he claimed that he wanted to marry. So I took action and stopped that by reporting him to social services, which I previously discussed. But that terminated my working relationship with PJ Proby. He would no longer speak to me or promote the record, refused to do the television shows that I'd got him booked for, never performed any of the songs on the record, and in actual fact tried to stop the record from being distributed by going to a solicitor and telling them that I'd forged his signature on the contract for the records, when in actual fact I got a witness, and I've still got the actual contract. I've still got it. And that was the end of that. The records, there was nobody to promote them. Now, anybody who's in the business knows the way that records sell is you get out there and promote them. So unless you are in a position to actually say, no, I am not doing that, and I'm not allowing you to do that while you're working with me. Answer is the social services did step in. They did. Now that young 11-year-old girl was never seen anywhere near him again, and the records that I'd invested a lot of money in, for me a lot of money anyway, they just didn't sell. It was played on the radio, but there was nobody to promote them. So that's the reason why show business celebrities and high-profile individuals are left alone to get on with it, and the young people that they molest are just pawns in the game. Here we have a song dinger, and I'm not going to sing to you today, although perhaps I should. What do you think? No, all right. I'm going to read you a poem instead. This is a nice poem. This is by A.H. Houseman. It's from his collection of poems called A Shropshire Lad, which I highly recommend that you read his book. It's brilliant. It's never been out of print. It's always in print. Only a short book, about 50, 60 poems. A Shropshire Lad. This is by A.H. Houseman. Loveliest of trees, the cherry now. Loveliest of trees, the cherry now, is hung with bloom along the bough, and stands about the woodland side, wearing white for Eastertide. Now, of my 80 years and 10, 20 will not come again, and take from 70 springs a score. It only leaves me 50 more. And since to look at things in bloom, 50 springs are little room. About the woodlands I will go, to see the cherry hung with snow. A.H. Houseman. Hope you enjoyed that. Tales from the Jails. Do like and subscribe. I'll put a link to the execution of Gary Glitter down below. It's on YouTube, you see. Tales from the Jails.